Hello, everybody. Welcome to this podcast. Today's subject is whistles. And if you read this word, except an actual whistle instead of me just breathing because I can't whistle, then I don't know. You're pretty wrong at reading. This is how it should have been read, because the asterisks obviously imply italics, otherwise you're weird. So, it turns out that the earliest forms of whistles were made by people carving gourds. Now, how ancient people with ancient technologies turned fruit into metal, that's pretty beyond human abilities, especially at the time. But like everything, the answer is, of course, aliens. And if you wish to learn more about said aliens and their history, especially as it relates to Nerf warfare, which we have adopted from them as sort of cultural assimilation, then you can check out my other podcast on Nerf warfare. So it turns out that whistles can actually be created as accidental byproducts of fluid flow, such as in supersonic jets, whatever this is, whistling telephone wires, and idling circular saws. Now, I'm sorry to break it to you, but if you have the word whistling in your name, then it's not really an accidental byproduct. It's really the main feature. Telephone wires that whistle, it's like the original Twitter. You would just drive down the road and you'd hear whistling on the telephone wires as you're driving by, and you'd be like, oh, that person's making a phone call. Good to know. Also, idling circular saws, the word idle means to do nothing. So, do the circular saws get bored by not spinning around? They just get so bored that they whistle? Because whistling is often, associated with boredom and being suspicious. Because, nobody actually whistles except when they have just done something suspicious and are trying to act like they didn't. I would like to confirm that yes, circular saws do get bored, and yes, they are able to produce a whistle. I have no idea why. Top scientists are working on it, and I'll get back to you if that ever develops. Now, in Bosnian, the word whistle translates to this mess of syllables, and I think that Bosnian is just trying to cover up for something, because for other words such as tuba, trombone, and clarinet, they're all the same as English, except they're just spelled wrong. So Bosnia, I hate to break it to you, but you really have a whistle problem, and it really doesn't help that your entire country looks like a giant pile of whistles. Here is a Bosnian police officer blowing his whistle as hard as humanly possible. He's blowing it so hard, his feet have elevated off of the ground due to the sheer force of the sound, and his hat is literally flying off, just due to the sheer force of the sound, pushing his hat, bouncing off the ground under his feet, pushing those up. And imagine how the whistle must feel in this situation. A policeman just took it and is just blowing into it so hard that his hat flies off, his feet come up off the ground. I mean, that cannot be a comfortable experience. Now, before the field of whistle psychology was developed, and we really could peer into the minds of whistles and understand how awful it is that they are treated by Bosnian policemen such as these, we had to rely on deep philosophers such as Gandhi, with famous speeches such as, if you blow your whistle hard enough, eventually your whistle will begin to blow you. Now, of course, he goes on further in his speech to sort of compare whistling and blowing your whistle to the British Empire and their discrimination of India. So, of course, it does apply in the figurative sense, but also to literal whistles being blown by such folks as Bosnian policemen. Douglas Adams is also a famous philosopher. Being blown by a whistle is unpleasantly like being drunk. What's so unpleasant about being drunk? Ask a glass of water. Now, what's so unpleasant about being blown? Ask a whistle, So, of course, blowing whistles is now against the Geneva Convention as of the late 90s when it was first produced. So, of course, it is very illegal now. to be a person like this. So I'd just like to make you aware of the fact that you should strive to be not a Bosnian policeman. Their entire culture revolves around this one idea of blowing whistles. Their country is based off of it, their language is based off of it. Otherwise, it's just a clone of English from spies who were really bad at spelling. I mean, that's all there is to it. So just remember, in your day-to-day lives, don't be a Bosnian policeman. Instead, treat your whistles kindly. A helpful acronym to remember this is TIWAKA. Thanks for watching. TIWAKA.